Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 19 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us on the phone this morning from the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico is Amy McVay-Tellez. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
And you hear ringing in the background. That's me trying to get artist Peter de la Fuente on the phone. Let me see if we got him in there.
You got me.
There he
That
is.
is perfect
Sorry,
timing.
we're on the air now. Sorry, we were busy
Mike,
doing a
you
bunch
meant
of
to
stuff
do
in the
that.
break
That was
there.
like boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
that was planned. That was
It was
pure
I
planning.
mean, like
I thought-
impeccable timing.
Yeah, that was pure timing, just perfect. I just did that by design, yes. Good morning. Joining us on the phone this morning, artist Peter de la Fuente is back with us as well. Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. We appreciate taking time to talk with us on the radio this morning.
I'm very honored to be here.
Very good.
I'm excited about this auction that Amy's got going. How are things going with that?
They're going great. Thank you for asking, Peter. They're going so great.
Yeah.
The only item that has immediately been sold is, of course, Peter de la Fuente's.
Oh, someone said I ain't messing around with this
They
bid
said,
nonsense. I'm buying it now.
No,
huh?
taking care of business. So thank you, Peter.
Well,
and
I'm honored.
And how wonderful Peter is that he said, well, since we sold that, why don't I just donate another one?
Oh, that's
so I'm
cool.
like, come on.
So quick, buy that one real quick and you'll donate it. I'm just kidding. I get ready here.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to the website at roswellmhistory.org, you see the silent auction and you're scrolling down and you can't wait to get to the beautiful art we have to offer. Yes, it's going to say sold on Peter de la Fuente's print. We had a generous donor donate a frame. It was a magnificent presentation. That's sold.
All right.
So that's a prime example, ladies and gentlemen. You can't just sit around on these wonderful opportunities because they're going to come and go. And I'm not being rude, but I don't know that everybody has the supplies to just keep doing what Peter did.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you have to strike it while it's hot. So if it has not been uploaded, Peter generously donated another print.
That's amazing.
And that way they can frame it and customize it to their home or office. So if it is not uploaded, it soon will be. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have another print.
Well,
and I'm
that's-
just thrilled
Well-
that Peter de la Fuente is part of our family.
Well, thank you for donating again. I appreciate that. That's
and
awesome.
again and again. You know,
We've got to keep that beautiful little museum going, and we've got to take care of Amy. It's an important part of the community, and it's a small little addition that I can give to the
awesome.
Well,
the continued future of that. But I intend to continue supporting your museum. I think you're a wonderful organization and a great, wonderful group of people.
So, Mike, one thing I do know that Peter is not able to do, Peter has a hard time up in his area getting everything live. So, Peter, what you're not aware of is when we're talking to you, they do have, for those watching,
Yes, we have
live,
a video component. Yeah.
that they're able to see your beautiful piece of art. So you have to tell us about it because,
good.
in my personal opinion, it's the most magnificent color.
It's beautiful. I didn't really get to because Amy just kind of texted it to me here, so I
Yes.
saw like it in its little tiny thing where I just forwarded it. Said, "Hey, we got to get this up." So this is actually the first time I'm getting like a good look.
There you go.
On the screen here because I
That's
just had a thumbnail on my
awesome.
phone here real quick to see it. So yeah. The piece that you just donated. Tell us a little bit behind the story behind this one.
Well, this painting, the original is in egg tempera.
Okay.
And it's called Vista del Peñasco,
Man, look at
the
that
view
thing.
from the cliff. And it's of course our favorite mountain. The original is 24 inches by 40. It's bigger than the print, which is a translation. It's not a direct. And you've got to accept that as a painter, that your prints are not going to be exactly like the original. You're going from a medium on panel to something on paper. But these are super high quality prints. These are giclées they're printed with mineral pigments that don't fade. They're not, most prints through the years, my grandfather, Peter Hurd's wonderful Eve of St. John or the Red Pickup, a lot of these prints that people have in their houses of Peter Hurd's, they tended to fade because they used fugitive dye-based inks.
Okay.
Well, they figured out a way to get pigmented inks, which is the same thing I would use. I work in egg tempera, which is an Italian Renaissance medium.
Yeah,
That's what
we've
the
had a
original-
great conversation about some of
We
those.
talked about that. Yeah. Well, these mineral pigments, they're iron oxide. I mean, for example, that's rust. You leave it out in the sun all year, it's not going to fade. These are cadmiums, ground earth. They're permanent minerals. So by using these, of course, in egg tempera, I jokingly say my paintings come with a 500-year warranty, and I generously offer a free touch-up at around 400 years if it needs it. But because these are that permanent things that were done in the Italian Renaissance, to this day, the colors just sing. These were the same pigments that they would use in fresco, but the medium that I use is secco, meaning dry, because you're creating a gesso panel with rabbit skin glue and chalk, and using these methods from 1431 is very sort of old school, but there's a magic that happens, and
It's beautiful.
this painting took me about a year to do.
Wow.
I'd come, I'd leave in the afternoon and leave the studio, say, well, I think I'm going to get it this week. 2 weeks later, I'd still be, oh, look at this. And this painting, it took its own route, and as they all do, but I was always, the whole time I was saying, please, I didn't know if I could get through it, and I was hoping one of my God or my relatives or someone bigger than me could come through me and help me do this, because I strongly feel that the artist is, after the artist has completed a painting, he or she becomes incidental, and all that matters is the viewer who brings their own experience
and interpretation,
responses and interpretations to the painting. And it doesn't matter how the artist got to that point or arrived at that image or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all that matters is the impression that the viewer has. And when people say the art is the artist, no, the art should be a lot bigger than the artist. And when the people back in the Renaissance were painting, and they were painting for the church.
Mm-hmm.
They were painting for God. They were painting their murals. They had to be much bigger than them. We're mere mortals, and the art becomes sort of timeless.
Well, now
that
I've got a bigger shot of it, and I'm looking at this on a TV screen through a digital image, so I'm not even looking at it in the best light possible to see this print. But I kind of get, when I'm sitting there looking at it, and there's so much detail, and the colors are so spot on that I kind of get the feeling like I'm just sitting on that plateau or that area where you're photograph or painting and looking. It feels like I'm just sitting there. Like I could sit there easily staring at that picture and just like imagine myself just sitting on that ledge there, looking out over the mountains. Because I mean, you could see the shadows from the clouds there, the details. I mean, it literally looks like I feel like I'm just looking through my own eyes out at the mountains. You know what I mean? And to achieve that through a painting, to me, is an amazing thing. That's what I think.
I had the privilege of paying him a visit when he was through this process, and it really did at the end, in my opinion. It took a life of its own. And if every piece of art had a story, this story is quite vibrant.
Well, Peter's kind of,
and we all need that time to get away. That literally takes you away.
Literally, while Peter was sitting here explaining the techniques and everything, I'm just kind of staring at the painting, the picture, and just looking and going, man, there's shadows. Look, I'm like seeing different details every time. So I heard what you're saying, but I was a little lost in your painting. I'm sorry.
He's lost in the clouds.
What can I say? I mean, wow. Thank you. My ears are bright red. I don't know what to do. Thank you so much. Nice words.
I mean, it's so. I feel like I could, if there was a breeze in this room, I feel like I'd be standing out there on the you know what I mean? The smell, you add the smells and everything. I swear I'd be there.
We need.
It's a completely human effort, because everything from doing these old mixtures of the gesso to mixing the paint, and it's all human. I even refinished the frame on the original, but it's when you mention photography, that's another thing. If you take a photograph from the same place that you're standing and looking at a horizon in New Mexico, we've got so much horizontal and very little vertical. You'll see the blue mountains on the horizon of the distant mountain range.
Yeah.
And when you take a photograph, how many times you have a big vista, how many times have you been disappointed because the things in the center of the lens have dropped by about 50% of their vertical. Everything looks pushed back, and it makes people look fatter on the lens. That people always say that. And I think it's because there's a little distortion in the middle of the spherical the way light is bent through a lens that restricts, it sort of contracts the middle of the image. And so I use photography for details and stuff, but I always draw from life and that's one of the things I wanted in this painting is the sense of the looming presence of this mountain that we all love so much, and which has been there unchanging through the earliest peoples, come as our little fleeting lifetimes, come and go, and the mountain stays unchanged. It's such incredible. I wanted to get a feeling of its immensity and majesty. And if I had copied a photograph, it would not have been. It would have not
done it justice.
Had that presence, and that's the human quality that you can't get. A machine could never get this. This is where we have a huge superiority over any AI.
Yeah.
If we become, victims of that, I think creativity will go out the window. It's already getting squashed in schools. Because if you listen to interviews with my grandmother, Henriette Wyeth, she always had an awe and wonderment and excitement, enthusiasm of life, a childlike sort of thing, and appreciation and gratitude. And curiosity, and all that is squelched in schools these days. And the kids, and it's replaced with groupthink, which is non-thought by definition.
I always thought, when we talk about art and things, and I'm all for using technology in art. That's when we, as we advance, sure, let's do that. But I don't want to get to the point where it's all computer and not human, and that's what makes art is the human part of it. The rest of it's just lines and dots and things.
Well, it's derivative. Yeah. Everything is derivative. Original images. I mean, you look at N.C. Wyatt's illustrations from Treasure Island. Those pirates, the way they move. He'd go to the library and research the wardrobe for that period, and then create these characters and give them flesh. And it all came out of his mind. And now, everything is derived from something somebody saw on the internet or something. Original creativity is being threatened by what's happening in our society worldwide. And so I hang on. That's why I use these old school techniques. It keeps me pure. I open a jar of pure ultramarine blue, the powder, and you almost hear the angels singing. I feel privileged because this is what Leonardo used. This is what Michelangelo used. And as I say, I'm in a constant state of gratitude out here, which sounds insane, but it's the way I feel.
Well, I believe in my heart. I know computers are pretty technology advanced, and they got a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of capabilities, but the amount of time that you spend on this print, this one here, I don't think there's a computer that could replicate that.
There's no way.
Yeah, you can't get that. I don't care if you've got a $10 billion computer with the most advanced graphics and blah, blah, blah on the planet. You're not going to recreate that print. You can't do it. That's human element, and there's no other way you can do that, And that's art.
So Peter, I know we'll be limited on time, but remind individuals that are not familiar with your plethora of talent and treasure. What's the website that they can go to see so many of your magnificent pieces of work and much more?
Yeah.
Well, we have a website. It's wyethhurd.com. Wyeth Hurd names together with two H's in the middle. It's wyethhurd.com. And it's kind of a neat website because it's got everybody from my great-grandfather, N.C. Wyeth, of course, Peter Hurd, Henriette, Andrew, down through Jamie, Michael, my mother, Carol, down through my brother, David, who lives in Albuquerque, is also an artist. Down through, the whole family has got family tree. It's got a little 4-minute video in the front page that takes you through the history of this family. A little YouTube video, coming west and the Wyeths and the way the Herds and the Wyeths came together, and Roswell's history. Because of course my grandfather was born in Roswell. We've got deep roots there, and it's got the whole family. So I'm Peter de la Fuente, the only Spanish-sounding name. My father was a Spaniard. I was born in Sevilla, in Spain, and my mother's Carol, the daughter of Henriette Wyeth and Peter Herd, for those who are not familiar. But anyway, it's been a true blessing and a privilege to be a part of this, and I just hope that people do keep buying prints. And Amy and I will talk about maybe having some available down there at the
Be wonderful.
Oh, cool, on Saturday.
Too,
to come down and see. And
or probably in the future.
Oh, very
You've got
cool.
one that people can look at, and we can ship them to them if they
Awesome.
decide. But you can go down to the museum if you want to see the actual print. It's 18 by 30, approximately. That's the image size. So the original is 24 by 40. So
It's just magnificent.
you saw the original, Amy. Yeah, there's nothing like the real thing.
There's
but
not.
This print is a good translation. I feel good about it. And of course, that mountain is magic to
It
all
is.
of us here.
It is.
We
And
just
that's the
need
important thing.
we need more Peter de la Fuentes, though. Again, I can't thank you enough. It's so unique that I think this is a perfect example of history bringing Peter de la Fuente to embrace our family, the Historical Society, and our works and efforts. We learn more about history. We celebrate the arts. I mean, that is magical in itself.
And
I mean, it's history coming to life.
Hooray.
I got a funny feeling
Definitely.
that this one may not last till next Tuesday either. So
We'll have to do something.
it might behoove folks to get
That's
on
right. You better
to
get it
the
while you can.
to the
That's right.
website now
Yes.
and start your bidding. Or
Yes.
it's very easy. It went live Tuesday, and
That's
it'll be on through next Tuesday here. If you log on to the Historical Society's website, which is roswellnmhistory.org, go there. Right front of mind there. When you get to the page, you'll see a link for the silent auction. You click that link, and that'll take you
Scroll
to the
you
site
down.
where you've got
Got
all
great items.
12
Great
items, I believe. Is it
That's
12?
right.
12
We've got 11 items and then one that you have to call the Historical
That's right.
Society. Our phone box.
11.279er secret jobber people to do there. So,
But have some fun, do some shopping, and we can work out anything. And we can't thank you enough, Peter. It's again, we're not done with this relationship. It'll continue in the future, and you never know. Next year we may just have some living, breathing art in the museum.
and check out the check out the website there.
Yes.
Check out the White Herd website
Yes.
and read that history and see the video.
That's the good stuff.
And see all the cool stuff that's there. And I know. I like you were talking about your name and how you kind of got I'm telling you, probably had better time with the ladies when you walked in and said, "I'm Peter de la Fuente," and they were like, "Ooh,
Yes,
that
I was speaking
sounds."
with a Spanish accent. Yes, I'm Pedro de la Fuente. Yes.
Everyone thought you were
Tus ojos, dos estrellas en el cielo de mi vida.
Yeah, they were
that's
thinking you're a
awesome.
Ricardo
was
Montalban
Spanish.
type.
Ricardo Montalban, yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Hola, no, that was my first language was Spanish, and growing up here in San Patricio on the ranch, I really this culture was immersed in me. And my grandfather, Peter Herd's deep appreciation of the language of Spanish and the Spanish cultures around here. He was, when I first arrived from Spain at the age of 4, I think, I spoke only Spanish. I was named after my grandfather, Peter Herd, and he spoke incredible Spanish. I mean, people's jaws would drop in Mexico. He'd go down there, here's this gringo speaking their native tongue. And so he was thrilled when his grandson appeared. And I only spoke Spanish, and I was named after him. And we were tight as can be from day one. I was so very close to my grandfather. And he instilled in me this deep appreciation of our country. He would always say, "Pedrito, look at the light on that hill. Look at those shadows. We are so fortunate to be in such an incredible place." He was constantly in awe of his surroundings. And I think gratitude is something of great power. If you're feeling grateful for what you've got, you're pretty invincible, really.
Well,
Absolutely.
amen to that, and we're very grateful for you, Peter.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Well, you two are treasures to the community. Amy and Mike, you guys are amazing, and I'm just honored and thrilled to be a tiny part of what you're doing.
Hey,
Thank you very much. You make us look good, so
That's
by
true.
doing stuff that you do, so it
That's
kind
very
of
true.
works
That's
out
true.
pretty
That's
good.
a win-win.
So.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful
great day.
And next time you're in town, love to have you pop by.
Please do.
Yeah.
Love to see you guys.
Thank you
All right.
so much.
Thanks
Have a great
again,
day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was artist Peter De La Fuente. Always a delight to chat with him. And, man, that print is beautiful. I mean, I'd love to see it in person because I'm enamored by the picture of the picture through the TV on the picture. And I know that doesn't do it justice. And I'm sitting there and I literally, I ain't going to lie. Peter's voice got a little gray in my head because I'm like just enamored with the painting, and I'm like, and I'm staring at the mountains and staring at everything, and just got in there. So please go to roswellnmhistory.org, click on the link for the silent auction, start bidding, and then of course don't forget, come on out Saturday 10 to 2 for the historic book fair here.
And while supplies last, they'll get a gift. So there you go.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna take a pause. Here, we're going to pause for news and a quick break, and then I'm back on the other side. We're going to have a little special treat for you.
Special guest.
A local author special guest that will join us here and is also contributing, being a part of our silent auction. So we're going to have that for you on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings and Bike Winners. Be back in 3 minutes.